Greetings from beyond the screen. The cycle begins anew with so-called conservatives, calling for the banning of hardcore pornography, as Kangmin Lee would put it. While from the rafters, Sarah Stock and Gotex squeak sky high. This particular line of argumentation is much like a hamster on its wheel. The act seems to be productive, yet it never achieves anything beyond proving that both sides of the aisle, on this particular issue, are woefully naive. Kangmin Lee argues that hardcore pornography is an area that is so black and white, especially with its prevalence having no benefits, only downsides, and that it would help individuals, families, and society if we mitigate its reach. Despite the endless click-clack of how banning pornography would create an upwind of positive change, no one on Lee's side ever goes into detail. For example, porn consumption is often cited as a cause of marital problems. However, the motive behind a husband watching porn is often due to wives being disinterested in fulfilling their wifely duties, denying emotional intimacy, etc. Now, if I could ask Lee, a single, never been married man, how would the ban he wants change women's behavior in marriage? Though, it would be better to ask Stock and Gotex because neither looks like the sort to fulfill their wifely responsibilities. By the way, Stock's engaged. We should revisit that sometime in the future, if she ever does get married. If Lee's vision were to become reality, it would require nothing less than a golden shield. The Golden Shield project is a large-scale surveillance and censorship system developed by the Chinese government. Launched in 1998 and fully operational by the early 2000s, its main purpose is to monitor internet activity, control access to online information, and maintain social stability by filtering or blocking content deemed politically sensitive. It combines cybersecurity technologies, data surveillance, and internet censorship, forming a key part of what's commonly called the Great Firewall of China. In short, the Golden Shield project integrates police databases, facial recognition, internet traffic monitoring, and content control, allowing Chinese authorities to track citizens' online behavior and restrict the flow of information across the internet. Lee would immediately argue that all he wants is people who distribute porn to face legal penalties, fines, jail time, etc. The requirement for this to be successful, however, is a massive invasion of privacy. It cannot stop at the distributors, it will go to the producers, whether it be a corporation or an amateur in their bedroom. How will we ensure the perpetrators, even potential ones, are dealt with? The Roach King tells us an effective ISP whitelist for websites or a digital ID. Given that Lee wants to achieve his goal through the government, the latter is the likelier option, since it affords them more power over the populace. Lee, like many others, naively believes that the ease of access to pornography is the reason behind the total degradation of culture, decency, and more that we have witnessed over the years. It is but a symptom of a much, much larger problem, a society that provides little incentive or structure to be a moral, spiritual person. This is made worse when the advocates for this often appear superficial in their faith rather than authentic. Particular reason that I mention this is more often than not, I find declarations of, oh, I'm a Christian, to come across as quite superficial, as has been said already, because it's kind of like, I'm trans, but you don't really commit to being trans. You just say that you are, so you get the points for identifying as such without committing to it. Faith should rather be kept private and personal, because that way it's more likely than not you're actually what you claim to be, unless you're a priest. If you're a priest and you don't even need to say anything as a priest. You wear the cloth, you wear the uniform, you wear identifiers. But if you go out and shout it on the internet while you have crosses in your name or bio, and then every single tweet is I'm a Christian, well, you might just be saying that for the attention. You might be another Nala who decided to go from an OnlyFans whore to a suddenly born again Christian whore, because she still does make suggestive content just with a Christian aesthetic. But I'm not going to talk about that. Now, onto the solutions that I mentioned Lee's side never brings up. It's never parents fulfilling their duties as parents with parental controls, communities giving men purpose and pride, or institutions creating avenues for dignity and financial independence. No, 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 no. It's never that. It's just ban the porn. It's not here. We are going to offer solutions alongside banning the porn. If that were the case, I'd be more in their corner. But it's just ban and not solve anything. We believe that doing this thing might solve the problem, but we're not really going to give a solution that is implementable with any kind of follow through. It cannot be done because it requires these moral browbeaters to be involved beyond their video cameras and podcasts. Yet the lack of willingness to do real work does not undermine there being a genuine concern regarding the ease of access to pornography. It is indeed a problem, however, bans hardly ever solve a problem. It often repeats under new guise. Britain banned guns to combat gun violence and ended up with streets ruled by stabbings. With the minion of Britain, the current government, under the pretense of protecting the children, as we've seen many so-called conservative do, including Oren, because, see, he says the same, the children. Pornhub keeps ceasing operation in every state that requires age verification. It's almost like the entire business model was built on intentionally getting kids addicted. You would assume someone of Aaron's caliber would understand the reason why Pornhub doesn't want to implement the age verification that the states want. But the unfortunate thing is, when it comes to conservatives, if it happens to be any kind of issue that they take problem with, and they have the chance to implement any means of government overreach, they're more than happy for it. If you get rid of the porn by giving government all of the power, it seems the likes of Aaron and others are like, yes, 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 we want it. And that is quite hypocritical, given the fact is if it was any issue that the left wanted to use government overreach for, they would be crying to the high heavens about how this is wrong. But I guess you have to break a few eggs to make an omelette. Now, returning to me mentioning the fact that the British government is deciding to protect the children, they're now pushing for digital IDs to restrict access to pornography. Though, not only that, also to any information regarding immigration, because it's dangerous to Labour's new voter base. Now, the lesson is simple. Bans be control, not virtue. If you seek virtue, then this is it.